Okay, so we're back home. We've been home for a few hours doing laundry and stuff, but we really wanted to take the time just to tell you how we got our visas. We know it was totally the Lord, and it's kind of crazy how it happened. So the first day we got there, we had a number from our queue, or when we got our appointment, so we had a queue number, and when we got there, it was immediately our numbers were up, so we were able to go straight to the line.
Which we were like the last ones there. So we were at the very back of the line, and we got to walk all the way to the front line and get wait like 2 people. It was awesome.
Right, so they review your paperwork first just to make sure that you have everything you need in order to go to the window to submit it. And while we were there, they were flipping through everything. There was a couple things we had to print off, which wasn't a big deal because they have a copier machine right next door, so we had to go print a couple things off. But while we were there sitting at the desk, there was a gentleman frantically looking for his phone. He lost his phone. He knew he set it down somewhere and he couldn't find it, and he was looking everywhere.
He was adamant that he set it down right in front of the immigration ladies and kind of accusing them, "Where's my phone? You took my phone." And they were like, "We don't know what you're talking about."
Yeah, so the people that were helping us with the papers were kind of like, "What? We don't have your phone." And he was just walking around in circles looking everywhere for his phone. And so at that time, I think all the kids knew that he was looking for his phone, and we just kind of, in my heart, I prayed, like, "Lord, help this man to find his phone. That'd be terrible if he lost his phone." And he was looking everywhere. Like, he went into the other room when we were making copies. He was looking all around the copy machine. He was looking everywhere.
And then after we're gonna go back, and he was in the bush.
Yep. So we go through the paperwork. We go get our copies that we need, and then we go to the window to submit our paperwork. And that was pretty smooth too. I mean, ×9, so it takes a little while, but it was smooth. We turned in all of our paperwork. We had everything that they requested, everything they needed. We were able to turn in, and we had it. And then they gave you a paper saying you can come back. And as we were getting ready to leave, the kids found the phone in a bush. Like, he must have set it down to put something in his backpack or something and just forgot that he set it there. But it was sitting right there like in a little planter in a bush. And so we found it.
And then Josiah found it first.
Okay, well, Josiah found it. Anyways, we found it. We knew it was the guys, so we gave it to the ladies that he was talking to originally, and they were like, "Oh, thank you," and they were very I think very pleased that we turned it in, and they really just thanked us a lot for being willing to turn it in, and they knew who it belonged to, and they were able to get it back to him.
And the fun part of the story that about the guy with the phone is we saw him in the morning before we went in, before the line was allowed to go into the consulate. And so I walked up to him and put my hand on his shoulder and was like, "Hey, we found your phone. The ladies inside should have it." And they had actually already contacted him and given him his phone, and so he was super grateful, and he asked like where it was and what happened, and so I told him that the kids found it and we were able to give it to the ladies, and so he actually had it in his hand, and he was super grateful, but he was like, "God was looking out for me," so he was.
Yeah. Amen. God's good. So then that takes us to the next day when we go to get our stuff.
Yeah, well, the next day it was nice because we arrived early. We were like the first ones there, and then we wandered around because we had like 45 minutes to kill before we went into the immigration place. But then by the time we got back there, we were again like the last people in line, so I thought, we're gonna have to wait through these like 200 people in order to go through. But they let us come in and sit down, and then they used the queue numbers from the previous day. So we were like 15 through whatever, and so we got to go right up to the front again. We had to wait for like 5 people in front of us, and then I turned in the queue paperwork, we talked to the lady, and then the lady's kind of flipping through the pages, and she grabs everyone's passport except for mine. And they were like looking through this huge stack of passports and paperwork, and then they were trying to look at my queue number, and then somebody walked away and then came back a little while later after I had paid for all of the other passports, so the rest of the family's passports. And they were like, "Oh, well, your passport is not here, you have to go inside." But they don't tell you anything. They don't tell you if you congratulations. They don't tell you, "Oh, sorry." They're just like, you pay, and as long as you pay, you get your passport back and your paperwork.
So we got our passports back, and I'm like looking through it, and I'm like, I don't think we got our visa. Like, I don't see anything in here. I saw the thing for Laos saying that we went into Laos, and I saw something else that said Vientiane. So I was like, oh, it's got to be something for Laos. I don't we don't have anything. So I was telling Kevin, I was like, I don't think we got it. I don't think we got it. I think we were not approved. And LJ looked and he's like, no, Mom, look at it. It says Kingdom of Thai Embassy, and then it had our visa. And I was like, oh, we got it. So all 8 of us were good, and we had our visas. But Kevin didn't have his. So we had to go inside.
Yeah, so I went inside, and that's where all of the rejects go. So, like me and 2 other guys that were not approved got to go, and they said that I wasn't approved because I didn't have bank account information. You have to print out your bank information, and you have to show them that you have at least 200,000 Thai baht. It's like $7,000 or something like that in your bank, like available. And I was like, oh man, but praise the Lord, I had that was not on any of the information that anybody gave me. But I was looking through some websites, and one of the things that I read said you need to have a bank statement, but it didn't say how much or anything like that. So I had printed off a bank statement from USAA, which is where Pastor Rick has been giving us our deposit for funds. And it just so happened that I had printed off this piece of paper that had these funds that Pastor Rick had put into our account right before we took it out of our account, because we just spent all of that going and getting our immigration stuff and our hotels and the bus trip, and then paying for the rent of the house that we're here. So I didn't have any of that money left, but I had printed it off on that piece of paper that said I had all this funds that I don't really have anymore. But it still wasn't enough. It was just a partial amount. And so then they were like, I had showed them, I gave this paper to the lady yesterday, but she took it out of my packet, so I had that one. And they're like, well, this isn't enough. You have to have some other bank account. So I went on my phone. Well, first I had to ask them, can I have internet access? Because if I can get on to internet access with my phone, then I can look up my bank statement, and I can show them a bank statement. And so the 2 ladies that we turned in the phone to yesterday or the previous day were the ones that were helping me. And so they were really, really nice, and they remembered us, they recognized us, they were saying hi to the kids, and so they offered to connect my phone to their phone and make a personal hotspot. And so then I was able to look at my bank accounts. But then kind of in the middle of all this, their boss shows up. And he starts asking them, what are you doing? Why are you, helping this person? And they tried to kind of explain, and he kind of looked at them like, no, you guys are not doing this. And so they kind of had to step off to the side, and then they started helping other people. And then they kind of just told me to stand off to the side. And so then the lady, when she's done helping the other 2 guys that were rejected, she told me, I had showed her the another bank statement which equaled the amount that we needed, and then she asked if I could email it to her, and I said sure. So I hit share, and then she put in her email address, and then she took my phone and kind of went away and printed out the paperwork that I needed and fixed everything. And then she called me over a little bit later, I don't know, 15 minutes later, and then she was like, here you go. And so they totally helped us out. But I think the only reason why they helped us out is because of our interaction with the phone, and then our extended interaction with those ladies the day before, because those other guys didn't get it.
Right.
And the boss person wasn't going to give it to us. So they totally went out on their own and helped us out. So praise the Lord. Thanks for your prayers.
Yeah, thank you for praying. It was totally a God thing. Kevin wasn't rejected, which is funny because the rest of us would have had visas, and he's kind of like our sponsor.
Yeah.
But they were going to give it to him. So we were like, well, maybe Kevin will have to come back on a solo trip to Laos, which was way cheaper than sending all 9 of us. So that would have been a blessing in and of itself as well. But God worked it all out. So thank you for praying. Thanks for supporting us in prayer. Thanks for joining us on this journey. It's a wild ride, but God is so good, and He always takes care of us. And so now we have 90-day visas, which can be extended up to a year. Every 90 days, you just have to go in and do some paperwork and pay some money and show that we are here volunteering, and then we can continue that. And then hopefully within a year, we'll get to get a full 1-year visa, right?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But this is the next step. So we're doing the next step. We're on our way to becoming longer residents here.
Yeah, so today we get to do TM30, residence certificate, which will give us the ability to do a driver's license and buy a car, and then we'll also have to do the work permit so that we can get our shipment.
Yes. So we still have a lot ahead of us, but a visa is a big check off our to-do list. And praise the Lord it happened on the first trip, because that doesn't always happen for everybody. So God's grace, God's favor, Him just answering the prayers of many saints who have been praying for us. So thanks for praying for us.
Thank you so much.